Hi guys, welcome back to the Rookie Reader. I am Jennifer Bleacher. So today I'm going to make a video I've never made before. It's going to be a TBR video. A reason why I usually don't make these kind of videos is because I usually don't have a plan at the beginning of a month, but I do this month. I know 3 books that I personally want to read this month for the month of October. The books that have a spooky thriller vibe, which I'm all about, and then I have your choices here. I think there are like, oh, I don't know, maybe like 20 options here. I asked you guys to tell me what I should read in October, and these were your suggestions. So I'm gonna pick 3 of those as well. So a total of 6 books for the month of October, which I know is not a lot for some people, but that's still quite a bit for me. That's a book and a half per week. Okay, so before I draw the names of the books I'm gonna read that you guys suggested, I wanted to let you know what I've chosen to read this month. Okay, so the first book that I picked to read this month is Holly by Stephen King. I'm looking off to the side because I have it pulled up on my computer. But Holly by Stephen King. Now, Holly is a character that's been in his other books. Like, she's a little side character that pops up every once in a while. She's like a private investigator. And Holly has been called to investigate the multiple disappearances in a small town. And these disappearances are tied to a retired professor couple. They were both professors and they're retired, and somehow they are involved in these disappearances. So that's what the book's about. I'm very excited to read another Stephen King novel. This will be my second one. Last year I read Fairy Tale, and I think he's an amazing writer. It's just, of course, he's an amazing writer. So I'm excited to get into that one. So the next book I decided to read for the month of October is A Flicker in the Dark by Stacy Willingham. So the story is that this woman, Chloe Davis, when she is 12 years old, a bunch of girls in her hometown go missing and end up murdered. And her father at that time, her father admits to committing these crimes, and he's put away for life. So then the book jumps 20 years into the future, and she's a therapist, and girls in the town she's currently living in start going missing. And she's feeling like that there's a similarity between these 2 situations, but her father's in prison. So is he really the one who committed this crime years ago? We don't know. So that's A Flicker in the Dark. I'm excited to read that one. I've never read Stacy Willingham before, so I don't know if she's done other books, but this one came highly recommended, so I'm excited to get into it. Okay, and then finally, I'm going to read Never Lie by Freida McFadden. I love Freida McFadden. Her books, so far the books I've read by her are just like, I can't put them down. Like, I pick them up, they're so good, I can't put them down. I have no idea what this book is about. Let me look it up real quick. Okay, so newlyweds Trisha and Ethan are searching for the house of their dreams, but when they visit the remote manor that once belonged to Dr. Adrian Hall, a renowned psychiatrist who vanished without a trace 4 years earlier, a violent winter storm traps them at the estate, with no chance of escape until the blizzard comes to an end. In search of a book to keep her entertained until the snow abates, Trisha happens upon a secret room, one that contains audio transcripts from every single patient Dr. Hall has ever interviewed. As Trisha listens to the cassette tapes, she learns about the terrifying chain of events leading up to Dr. Hall's mysterious disappearance. Oh my gosh, this sounds so good! Trisha plays the tapes one by one late into the night. With each one, another shocking piece of the puzzle falls into place. Dr. Adrian Hale's web of lies slowly unravels, and then Trisha reaches the final cassette, the one that reveals the entire horrifying truth. Oh my gosh, okay, that's gonna be fun. So those are the 3 books that I've chosen to read this month. Now I'm going to pick your choices here. We're gonna go for 3. Mix it up. Okay, so the first book you guys picked for me, oh, this is a series. The Jane Doe series by Kris Calvert. So I guess what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna read the first book in the series. So that's the first book. Okay, let's pick another one. I know nothing about that one, by the way. so I'll be completely surprised. Next book is I Heard You Painted Houses by Charles Brandt. And I believe the person who recommended this said that this one, actually, you know what? Let me read what you guys said about these books. I'll pull that up in just a minute. I'll pull up what you guys said. Okay, let's do one more. One more. And go all the way to the bottom. Okay. Oh, okay, so actually a lot of people were reading this one last year, and I was really curious about it. Mexican Gothic by Silvia. So let's start by saying what you guys said about these books, the people who picked these books. Let's see what you guys said about them first, and then we'll look them up and see what they're going to be about. Okay, so this Jane Doe series was recommended by Trisha Anderson 3001, and this is what she said. Yeah, I was so mad at the end of All Good People Here. Yeah, I talked about that in my last video. She has said she is working on a second book. My obsession right now is the Jane Doe series by Kris Calvert. She is also a true crime podcaster. Okay, so thank you for the recommendation. So I'll be reading the first one in that series this month. So the next book was recommended by, I'm sorry if I say your name wrong, it's J. Themmer or J.T. Hemmer, 1407. I Heard You Painted Houses by Charles Brandt. Jimmy Hoffa book, very interesting read. So I'm very curious about that. I Heard You Painted Houses. I've never heard of the book, so I'm interested to see what that's going to be about. Jimmy Hoffa, love it. Any mafia related thing I think isn't going to be interesting. Okay, and then finally, Callie Love 5977 suggested Mexican Gothic by Silvia, and she says that it's different but very engaging. She also suggested a couple other books, but I didn't get those pulled. Actually, one of them she suggested Verity by Colleen Hoover. I've already read Verity, actually loved it. That's the only Colleen Hoover book I've ever liked. I've read lots of Colleen Hoover, and that's the only one I really liked, and I loved that one. So Mexican Gothic. Okay, let's look these books up and see what they're gonna be about. Okay, so this is the first book in the Jane Doe series. It is called Jane Doe Scarlett. I've always loved that name, Scarlett. Left as a newborn to die in a dumpster, she has no name. Tossed from state-run orphanages to a string of foster homes, she has no family. Growing up hard, fast, and street smart, she's accomplished in hand-to-hand combat and accurate with a gun. With no money for college, she enlisted in the U.S. Marine Corps out of high school and was quickly plucked from her unit when her sharp shooting and intellectual skills outshined her male counterparts. Okay, strong female character. I'm excited about that. I love strong female characters. With no known past, she is deemed a perfect fit to a task force Washington denies exists. A selective assassin for the United States government, Jane Doe tracks down terrorists on a domestic soil. Okay, so this sounds very interesting. Totally different from what I normally read. It sounds more like an action and adventure kind of book. Okay, now I know why it sounded so familiar to me. So there's a movie called The Irishman that came out a few years ago, which I watched with, was it De Niro? I'm pretty sure it was De Niro that played the main character. And so that movie is based on this book. That's why that title sounded so familiar to me. So that I Heard You Painted Houses is the inside story of the Mafia, the Teamsters, and the final ride of Jimmy Hoffa. So I'm excited because I loved the movie. So I usually like to do it reverse. I usually like to read a book first and then watch the movie, but that's okay. Like I said, I'm glad to have some variety on my list here. Okay, so the last book was Mexican Gothic by, she said Silvia. Let's see if I can find the whole name. Silvia Moreno-Garcia. So here's what that's going to be about. After receiving a frantic letter from her newlywed cousin begging for someone to save her from a mysterious doom, Naomi Taboda heads to High Place, a distant house in the Mexican countryside. She's not sure what she will find. Her cousin's husband, a handsome Englishman, is a stranger, and Naomi knows little about the region. Naomi is also an unlikely rescuer. She's a glamorous debutante, and her chic gowns and perfect red lipstick are more suited for cocktail parties than amateur sleuthing. But she's also tough and smart with an indomitable will, and she is not afraid, not of her cousin's new husband, who is both menacing and alluring, not of his father, the ancient patriarch who seems to be fascinated by Naomi, and not even in the house itself, which begins to invade Naomi's dreams with visions of blood and doom. Okay, this is my kind of book. Blood and doom. Her only ally in the in-hospital abode is the family's youngest son, shy and gentle. He seems to want to help Naomi, but might also be hiding dark knowledge of his family's past. For there are many secrets behind the walls of High Place. The family's once colossal wealth and fated mining empire kept them from prying eyes. But as Naomi digs deeper, she unearths stories of violence and madness. Okay, well, I have quite a variety of books this month. I am excited to get started. So I'll be back at the end of the month. I'll be back next month to let you know how it went. If you have any suggestions for November, please put them down in the comment section of this video and I will add them to the next drawing that I do. See you guys next time.